Hey guys, welcome to Nico Play. This is another episode of Love, Money, Rock and Roll. So, last episode we remember how we used to drink after school, before school, during the school, how Nikolai is trying to convince his happiness towards some girls that he has no clue what he has supposed to convince to them. So, this episode will be a little bit longer, because I actually watched that this game is quite long. Somebody said it's 18 hours, which is a lot. And if I'm gonna do like by 40 minutes or 50 minutes, it's gonna be like, I don't know, like 15 or 17 episodes. Okay, anyway. We ate dinner in silence, without talking, without the TV, and without even looking at each other. Okay, I already forgot the controls, yeah. I'm still a little bit sick, guys, so I'm sorry. I could almost feel the charge of tension in the air. It was one thing for me to stay silent, but why was Himitsu keeping quiet? Just because I lied about Catherine? After so many years, Himitsu had come to know me very well, so she knew that there were times when it was better to remain silent and times when it was better to do the opposite. So what was she hoping to achieve now? She knew I wasn't a fan of small talk, but the silence was become unbearable. How was the school? Fine. That's it? Just fine? Nothing happened to Isaya-chan? No. Why do you ask? I set down the chopsticks and leaned back in my chair. Probably because you've been quiet the entire dinner. I'm not quiet. I mean, not on purpose. Himitsu got flustered. Then what is it? She was obviously working up the courage to continue. These sorts of conversations had always been difficult for her. Because I was worried. Did you even check the time? You couldn't call me at the least. Called? Called where? And who? Here. Oh my god, she's like a wife. She replied in a faltering voice. How was I supposed to know you'd be here? We aren't living together last I checked. Maybe we should. Wow. Okay, when the girl is offering you, to live together, that's something is going on. She mumbled softly. I pretended not to hear it. The conversation had clearly taken a wrong turn. No! Fucking Nikolai! Take fucking her. Take fucking rape her right now. Alright, you know what? I'm really tired today. You head home, I'll do the dishes. But... I'll see you tomorrow. Himitsu hung her head and stood up from the table. Good night. When the door closed behind her, I breathed a sigh of relief. Right now, I absolutely needed some alone time. I felt as though trapped between two fires, or even 3 or 4. 3 or 4 fires, like 3 hot or 4 hot girls. Damn. It's Catherine. It's that queen of the school, Himitsu. Then Aivavura. Oh my god, so many girls around here, guys. So many girls. Okay, veritable king. Ring of fire that was slowly but surely closing on me. And how was I acting? Sluggishly and indifferently, like a discreet old man who had long stopped caring about his life. On one hand there was Catherine, who I simply couldn't put on my own mind. On the other there was Himitsu, who clearly wasn't happy to see Catherine back. And there was also the new acquaintances, my non-existent plans for the future, and the future itself, shrouded in a thick haze of uncertainty. I stretched out in bed and remembered Ellie. Even if the closest episode felt like it had been ripped straight off some techie manga, it had still been a pleasant one. What if Ellie could help me with the note somehow? No doubt, she had good connections. So for Himitsu and Catherine, come what may. Maybe things would resolve themselves. With these thoughts, I fell asleep. Or the dreams, Final Fantasy dreams. The 4 warriors of light are coming upon us. I was waking up by the telephone. What time was it? It cost me some pains to make it to the phone. Why just fucking you sleep in one room? There's 3 rooms. Just move the phone to your bed or move the bed to your phone, like. Hello. I sounded terribly groggy. Nikolai, you're in great danger. You need to be extremely careful. A voice said in Russian. Oh my god. How could I know? I was still half asleep, so I couldn't really understand what was going on. What? Who is this?
I repeat, be extremely careful. Pay particular attention to what are you doing, who you talk to, and what you talk about.
That has to be a fucking Gray Fox from Metal Gear Solid, for sure. The voice sounded unnatural as if the speaker had pressed the cloth against the receiver. Who is this? What do you want? What is you left the note?
You'd be warned.
You'd be warned. Beeping. Now I was really scared. Should I call the police? And what would I say? An ordinary school kind of no interest to anyone, a note and a telephone call, it all added up to prank. But this prank went way too far, my dear Nikolai. The first thing I did was to lock all the doors and unplug the phone. And hide under the bed and lock the windows. It could be a prank, but then who was the prankster? Michael wouldn't do it, a Kiyosaki wouldn't even cross his mind. Why did all this start just as Catherine returned to Japan, even if she didn't write the note? I pulled the blanket over my head. Oh, it's again midnight? So entire day he didn't go to school again, or what? Sleep refused to come, but the fear eventually subsided a bit. I told myself that I would try to sort all of this out tomorrow with a fresher head. It was a while since I was talking today, guys. I'm sorry. Just my jaw is breaking me. 1987. So it's a September 9th, 1987. Nice year. I think Final Fantasy already came out, the very first one. I woke up late. It was already past noon. House was quiet. Too quiet. Really. I'd missed school again. Fuck school. You know what? I already realized. Nikolai doesn't care about anything. Literally. The school, the money, the fucking everything. He just lives his life. Like, of course, sometimes I want to be like Nikolai, but just sometimes. I don't want to be like that forever. You know? Oh well, to hell with it. Exactly, to hell with it. After all, my life was on the line now. Or was being over dramatic. I mean, just fucking stand up and go do your shit. Bro, keep your life going. I walked into the kitchen and stood there in a stupor. My head felt heavy, thoughts jumbled together. I wanted to sleep a little longer, maybe just another 10 hours. A glass of cold water helped bring me to senses. I looked at myself in the mirror. Oddly enough, the black eye was gone. I checked all the doors and windows. They were locked securely the way I had left them the night before. I found a note from Himitsu in the hall. I was worried, blah blah blah. Will come by after school, more blah blah blah. Good job, that's how you treat girls. Thank you, but no thank you. This must have been the first time in my 18 years alive I faced a situation like this. The move to Japan at an early age, the challenges of adaptation, the deaths of my parents. All this had been tough, but they seemed more like fate than someone acting against me. This time was different. Something was threatening me directly. Someone was warning, cautioning me, sincerely or not. But who could possibly be interested in me? I have no idea, bro. Then it hit me. It was improbable that I personally would be of interest, but it might be about my parents. They had immigrated from the USSR after all, and they worked for Kobayashi Corporation. And the voice on the phone yesterday had been speaking Russian. The sound was altered, sure, but it was clearly unaccented. So they spoke pure Russian. Okay, then it's not supposed to mock the accent, by the way. I didn't know exactly what my parents were working on, but it might have been something serious. A lump formed in my throat, work serious enough to kill for. The most frustrating thing was that I knew nothing about it. Except, who was going to believe me? I had to act fast. I pulled out my dad's old address book and scanned through it for the numbers of his co-workers. A few I'd met, some I heard of. In any case, anything was better than sitting and waiting. Good afternoon, my name is Nikolai Anakin, and with the first dozen numbers. Some were no longer their old jobs, others didn't pick up, one had even passed away. I turned the page. There was a number written in my father's firm, even and underneath it name Ichinoza-san. Ichinose-san. Ichinose. I heard that last name before. Long dial tone, 1, 2 after 10, was about to hang up when a familiar elderly voice sat on the other end. Hello. At that point, I remember Ichino-san used to visit frequently when I was younger. An ever-polite, affable, good-natured old gentleman. He used to bring me candy and ask me about school and my hobbies. Then he and Dad would sit together in the garden for long stretches of time and with an air of importance do a lot of smoking and talking. Good afternoon, my name is Nikolai Anakin and I... Oh, Nikolai-kun! He interrupted. Long time no see, how are things? Fine. I gave a stock answer. Was I supposed to dump everything at once on him? Everything that had happened to me in the last few days? I'm sorry about your parents. The voice in the receiver turned somber. I vaguely recalled seeing Ichinose-san at the funeral. Thank you. Actually, that's why I'm calling. I mean, not literally, of course. For a moment, I remained silent. Sorry, I'm a bit nervous. Could you please tell me about my father's work? I know he worked as an engineer, but what exactly did he work on? Something happened? Why the sudden interest? And oh, of all times. To tell the truth, something has happened, but it's not important. Oh, why not? Can't you tell me? Yes, of course I could, but it's just... What reason did I actually have to trust him? Just because he'd be over to our house a couple times and had been nice to me? So are you going to tell me or not? Is this some kind of secret? Not a secret, no, but it's somehow complicated. I get that it's complicated. I'm not a child anymore. I grumbled back. So what happened? Some people came by and asked questions about my father about his work. I lied. Ask about his work, did they? Ichinose stretched out the words ambiguously. And what exactly did they ask for? I don't know. I mean, I didn't tell them anything because I don't know anything myself. And how did they question you? What do you mean? Well, what was the tone? I was absolutely certain Ichinose knew far more he was letting on. What's more, Ichinose seemed apprehensive. Should I be worried? That's for you to know. He replied coldly. If I knew anything, I wouldn't be calling you, right? Nikolai, you shouldn't drag yourself into this. Why? Do you know something? Tell me! This concerns me too, you know. No, this does not in fact concern you, and if you lay low, everything will be alright. But... That's all I'm going to say, don't call here again. Short tones followed. Wow! Everything will be alright. Yeah, alright. On the other hand, I could at least thank him for indirectly confirming my suspicions. This was indeed about my father. I collected my thoughts and tried to remember everything my father had ever told me about his job. An engineer. What do engineers do? Build stuff, or more accurately draw up plans. God, what did a 16-year-old kid care about details like that? What had mattered to me was that I received my allowance and that all was well at home. I was certain about one thing: my father hadn't been working at conventional construction. Defense, maybe? Had he worked for the military? What difference did that make? I still didn't know a thing about his actual work, unless the whole thing was someone's sick joke. The hour hand on the clock moved inexorably towards 3 and hadn't even eaten breakfast yet. Himitsu would arrive soon, the note made that clear. Enough already. She wasn't my mother. I was like, oh, maybe the family or some shit. Of course, as I thought that, I felt that sting of my conscience. Still, I absolutely had to get some fresh air. I decided to go to my favorite bar for lunch, even if it was the site of yesterday's unfortunate incident. The bell above the door rang as I entered, but none of the few patrons present looked my way. Only the bartender gave me the usual smile and waved at me.
Hey, Коля, been seeing a lot of you lately. Not that I don't enjoy your company, but after yesterday...
I stopped in front of the bar, not knowing what to say. No, my anger toward him had already passed. After all, people have their own lives and jobs to worry about. Will it be the usual? No, I've come for lunch. Got it. What would you like? Don't know. Give me a steak, I guess. It should be done. The bartender managed to imitate the Japanese way of addressing guests to near the perfection, but he twisted in his own peculiar way, so he ended up sounding more like the overly hospitable host of medieval tavern. Oh my god, Nikolai, like you probably watching too much of Lord of the Rings or shit. I sat down, or the fucking Game of Thrones, yeah. That's why he has so many girls. I sat down at the table and sank into thought. The steak turned out well, as expected. The food here was as good as the beer. Fucking alcoholic. I was lazily picking my teeth with a toothpick when the doorbell rang out pleasantly again, signaling the arrival of a new customer. Standing in the doorway was Michael. That was one person I'd never expected to see here. So why not? He noticed me and came to sit at my table. A split second later, the bartender appeared beside us and placed the menu in front of Michael. A friend of yours, Nicolas? He asked in Russian, hideously drawing out my name in French manner. Something like that, yes, a classmate. I replied in Japanese. What does the sword desire? I couldn't decide when I was more irritated or amused by his performance. Just coffee. Right away. Came the bartender before taking off. Is school over? It is, and you didn't show up. Yeah, let's just say I had some business to take care of. I had known Michael for 2.5 years. He was from the States, and his parents have also been working in Japan for a while. We were never particularly close, but his seriousness and strange maturity commanded a certain respect. You could say he was the perfect opposite of Kuyosoki. I take it you don't want to go into detail. Not particularly. Some guys at school have been bragging that they beat someone up yesterday. And I snarled back, irritated. It was hard to tell with Michael if he was hinting at me or just sharing gossip. You haven't heard anything about that? No. I see. He kept sipping his coffee, gazing somewhere past me. As uncommunicative as could be at times, Michael was something else. Was he really comfortable now? So what's going on at school? The usual. And how's Catherine? The question slipped off my tongue of its own accord. I hadn't even thought about her until the moment. Michael set his cup down and stared at me intently. I don't know, we're not acquainted, remember. Oh right, back then we were in different classes. He kept looking at me strangely. What? Was there something between the two of you? You probably already heard everything from Kuyosoki, but I'm asking you right now. Okay, yes, there used to be something, but that was a long time ago. And now? And now there's nothing. I see. Are you curious because you're from the same country? I'm just wondering, why did they enroll at this particular school? Michael is smart. But now I was sick of this question, even if I usually was the one posing it to myself. Have you thought that maybe there is a reason behind that? What difference does it make? What I have or haven't thought? You don't know, Catherine. Thinking is wasted on her. Sorry, I didn't mean to upset you. It's nothing to do with you, I've just got more important stuff on my mind. Michael kept his voice so calm and level the entire time that it was beginning to annoy me. If he didn't actually care, why ask so many questions? Anyway, this isn't the most pleasant of subjects. Sorry, I didn't realize that the two of you still... He coughed pointedly. That it was an unpleasant topic for you. But he couldn't have guessed. Imagine that. I felt like tossing some bills on the table and walking out. Bam, 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 like fucking money, money, money. And I had few friends as it was, and this kind of behavior was pretty typical for Michael. Did anyone ask about me at school? Not that I heard. I see. And, how are you doing anyway? Not too bad, except I have not free time at all. I'm preparing for college admission. Oh damn, this... it's like so fucking funny. This is like Russian schoolboy and American schoolboy. Russian schoolboy drinks, messing up the school, smokes, like, you know, do all that shit. And the American guy attending college, preparing his future, doing business, drinking coffee. Fucking beautiful American guy. College admission. I drew out the words. Where do you want to go? Back to the States, most likely. What? Tired of this place? I smirked. It's just that higher education is better there. I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know. Like, of course, I have higher education, but not from Japan, of course. Michael calmly responded. His words touched a nerve. Unlike him, I had little choice. And even if I wanted, the best I could hope for me with my grades was a minimum wage job. I don't think so. Even a minimum wage job like will fucking take you, buddy. Our conversation had stalled right out of the gates. I mean, minimum wage in Japan, because I heard like even to get any job in Japan, you have to be kind of, you know, finish the school. But he cannot even fucking finish the school. Well, I think I'll be heading out. See you at school tomorrow. See you. He said in the same level tone. I waved goodbye to the bartender and left. Had the bar been a courtroom, Michael would have fit the part of the prosecutor to perfection. Stern, cold, dispassionate, operating only on facts. Damn fuck, I love Michael. And what would my chances have been then, seeing how I flew off the handle at the drop of a hat? ... I wandered aimlessly around the city, passing street after street and neighborhood after neighborhood. I found myself in a part of town where I had never been before. A curious thing, Tokyo was, of course, much larger than my hometown, but back during my childhood, everything seemed huge to me. The apartment, the yard, the kindergarten, the store across the street. So my mind could comfortably draw comparisons between that tiny place from my childhood and this multi-million-person metropolis. By the way, it's Metropolis or Metropolis? I think Metropolis. I suppose I was always at ease in a crowd of perpetually rushing strangers. Sometimes I walked in the same direction as them, as though in lockstep, and other times I went against the flow. The crowd paid me no attention, accepting me as one of their own, and thank goodness for that. Maybe because of this ability of mine, I noticed someone was following me. Sure, it's often the case that a stranger happens to be going the same way as you. One turn to a crossing wouldn't be a problem, but when you're just wandering around and someone mimics you every move without a fail, you know it's no coincidence. I quickened my pace, crossed on red, turned into an alley and walked briskly through it. There were two possibilities. Either I was just being paranoid, or it managed to put some distance between me and him. I pretended to be checking out of TV behind the window of an electronics store. At least 5 minutes passed by my mysterious pursuer hadn't shown up. It occurred to me that I had finally lost my mind, had called for a sedative or a drink. But I hadn't made it up. I was sure that someone had been following me. Who and why, that was another question. Maybe I relaxed too early. Was it worth checking again? Trying to find a tail, do nothing. Wait. Why we need to try to find the tail? I mean, it's a little bit dangerous. Like, oh, why are you following me? And Nikolai, definitely, he's not good at martial arts, you know? For sure, he won't be able to kick anyone. Ah, okay, but he kicked the guy. Actually, okay, I'll try to find the tail. Anyway, it couldn't hurt to try. And if it was a professional shadowing me, then he wouldn't let me bust him so easily twice in a row. I went into a clothing store and as quickly as I could bought a brightly colored windbreaker and a cap after confirming Noah was watching me from the street. If you want to hide something, hide it on a plain sight. The idea worked in crowds as well. I darted into one of the numerous side streets, threw on the jacket and the hat, tucked the shopping bag behind a pipe and ran to the next street. I stopped around the corner next to a newsstand, drew the cap low over my face and glanced around me. Sure enough, before long the now familiar figure appeared in the distance. It made sense. He'd gone down a parallel street instead of following right behind me. I made a half turn, hunched my shoulders, and even crouched slightly so as to appear shorter. My pursuer was looking around frantically, having clearly lost sight of me. Yet he passed right by the newsstand without paying any attention to the guy in the flashy windbreaker. I followed him. The man was middle-aged, dressed in an unseasonable warm trench coat, dark pants, and black shoes. He looked like a typical office worker. I think it's FBI. Oh no, KGB! It's fucking KGB from USSR! Fucking KGB dogs. He stopped at an intersection, looked around and sighed loudly. I was just 2 meters behind him. Lost someone, I finally ventured. Huh? Suspicious guy. He turned sharply and gave me a bewildered stare. No, everything's alright. Just as quickly the stranger's expression went blank and he prepared to leave. Why were you following me? Following you? I wasn't following anyone. He'd regained his composure in the blink of an eye. I was supposed to meet someone here, but it looks like they aren't going to show up. That someone... is it me? Young man. He looked me up and down and continued coldly. This is the first time I've ever seen you. Then why follow someone you'd never met? I have to go. I didn't try to stop him. That would have been something else. But damn it. Things were going from bad to worse. First the notes, then the calls, the mysteries of my family's past, and now someone trailing me. The one thing that brought relief was that I was still alive. A nervous laugh escaped my lips. Some schoolgirls nearby exchanged anxious whispers. Enough, it was time to put an end to this. I'd call my grandparents the very next day. Oh, but it's hard to do international call. I was already dark when I found myself in front of a music club I'd occasionally visit to see the local underground bands. Oh, maybe the Nightmare will be performing. Damn. Oh no, Nightmare is the 90s. Fuck. Japan X is still alive. Japan X. Come on, maybe. Ah no, Japan X was not on the ground anymore. Damn, they became already famous. Fuck. Okay, who else? Japanese bands. Okay, guys, type in comments. In the 80s. Japanese bands in the 80s. If daytime in Tokyo still felt as warm as in summer, the evenings were getting increasingly colder. I wrapped myself more tightly in my denim jacket and shivered. The house was some distance from the club, so it made sense to go in and warm up. The inside of the club was pretty crowded. Cigarette smoke hung heavy, and the air was saturated with the spicy aromas of beer, sake, whiskey, plus God knows what else. Jesus Christ. Frankly, drinking hadn't been on my to-do list for the day, but this was too much to pass up. I got a beer from the bar and squeezed myself closer to the stage. The first band was playing some basic heavy metal. Japanese bands that played this kind of music didn't try to reinvent the wheel, happy to copy the Western masters. Come on, the fucking Soviet Union already had good masters as well, bro. Aria, Master, fucking Mirage, Alpha. Like, there's many good bands, actually. Some did better than others. This band was only so-so, which is why the majority of the audience were occupied with anything and everything except listening to the music. The unfortunate metalheads couldn't possibly not have noticed and by the end given up, just trying not to make complete fools of themselves. Then again, who was I to judge? I couldn't play my bass even at their level. True that. The bass guitar in heavy metal is very classically, and you know, like the cello techniques, like. The next band was dressed in 70s fashion, a sure sign that someone old school rock was to follow, so I went off to wander the club. Although I would come here from time to time, I never made any friends. Usually I just stood around myself, guzzling beer. You know, bro, if you would not guzzling the beer, maybe you would have friends? Don't you think about that? It was pointless to expect international stars here, and I only cared about the local bands so far as they helped me while away another boring evening. I remember how I brought Catherine here once, although she hadn't liked it at all. Kimitsu meanwhile refused to go to concerts at all for some reason. Wow, damn, that's fucking your dream wives over there. Okay, fuck Catherine, but he needs to, like, she doesn't want to, like, go to concerts. That's cool. You're gonna save money, bro. A young couple was cuddling in the corner. I watched them for a good while and suddenly felt revulsion. Bro, this is not good, like, to kind of... No, that wouldn't won't do. I told myself, tonight at least I'm going to relax. You have Himitsu to cuddle! I dashed to the bar, down 3 shots of whiskey, picked up another beer and headed back into the crowd, this time at far less steady gait. Damn, that comes the pit. Here comes the pit where Nikolai is gonna fucking die for sure. The old farts had finished playing and the stage was now occupied by some glam rockers tuning their instruments. Damn, it's a Kiss? Yeah, Kiss was like... No, Kiss was already very popular, yeah. In the end of 80s, Kiss was super popular. Come on, let's get rocking, I yelled. A guy standing near me glanced my way and said, Bro, it's dark inside, why are you wearing sunglasses? We're gonna rock alright, don't you worry. What are you, playing to or what? Sure am. Then why aren't you on the stage? They're busy tuning. I don't need any tuning, I'm always tuned. He adjusted his sunglasses. Why was he wearing them indoors? Exactly, see you. Oh. I think it's a fucking guy. A girl. With that, the guy disappeared into the dressing room. The lights dimmed and the speakers erupted with the first guitar chords. Hi everybody, where's the Filzy? A familiar voice came over the microphone as bright lights beamed down from the rafters. Yeah, it's a girl. Standing center of the stage in a rather unusual outfit was Ellie, guitar in hand. Standing, then singing and not playing. Now this was not ready for, I said out loud, but no one could hear me over the thundering music. Yesterday's episode in the old music classroom came right back to me. Had the money driving her insane? I could understand learning music on the side, but this here I listened more intently. They were actually pretty good, no wonder they've been asked to headline. The crowd clearly took well to the music too. Yes, yes, Ellie's a rocker! As the first song ended, Ellie shouted thank you into the mic and served the audience lingering on me for a second. Oh nice, there's the vocals in this game too. Did she spot me? Judging by the surprise and even embarrassment on her face, she did. So what? Did she really think no one would find out about her nighttime transformation from perfect student and lady to the queen of Tokyo's glam rock scene? Fuck! Hee 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 hee, Nikolai, hee 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 hee. Yeah, he's fucking drunk as fuck. I chuckled. Fell for her? Where did you come from? That weird kid, the keyboardist for Z Feel Z, was standing next to me again. You were just up on the stage. She's going to take some effort. Look, I haven't. We just go to the same school and sort of know each other. Nice. Oh, is that so? His eyes flashed from behind his sunglasses. What kind of dumb name is that anyway? Z Feel? It's pronounced That Feels Z. Like the anime robot, you know? That Feels anime robot. I'm trying to remember anime robot. I looked at him skeptically. It's to attract fans. If the jam-packed club floor was any indication, Z Feel Z didn't lack of fans, at least not around here. The crowd was getting hyped up in anticipation of the next song. An instant later, the guy I'd been talking to was back on the stage behind his instrument. They were playing some kind of ballet. And nothing else matters. Ellie kept shouting angry looks my way. Of course, I was here just so I could distract her from her performance. Still, she did have a nice voice and played well too. Maybe she had a gift, but even so, to get this far, with all her other obligations and responsibilities, the scion of a respected family. Time is finite, after all. I had no obligations, no responsibilities, and yet all I learned to play were 2 or 3 songs from tabs. I mean, that's still cool. Do you wanna tell me the anecdote, like the joke about the bass players? Okay, here's the thing, guys, let's go ahead. The bass lesson. The teacher is having his very first student. He's showing the bass guitar and telling, okay, this is the 4 strings. The first string, the bottom, the lowest, the thickest, you playing like dam, dam, dam. And the second string, which is the bottom, you playing like ding, ding, ding. Got it? Okay, go practice. So next week, the student never shows up. After the next week, the student never shows up again. The years have passed, and then the teacher is seeing that student on the street. He comes to him and say, hey, what's up? Why you left my school? You were doing so well. And he replies, well, you know, now I have concert, tours, album recordings. Yeah, like, which means the bass guitar is like kind of simple, but of course it's not simple, but it's like one of the jokes about bass players. Okay, anyway, I suddenly felt a surge of respect for Ellie and backed away from the stage so I was not embarrasses her further. I leaned back against the wall where she couldn't see me. She doesn't do as well without you. Anger imparts strength. What the hell? You guys are playing now? As in, right now? Right now there's a solo. This kid was starting to get to me, so I went back to stand near the stage. Seeing me, Ellie fumbled with her strings, a metallic twang rolling out from the speakers. Van Halen, like 80 Van Halen. Yeah, in the 80s it was super popular. Were her fans and servants going to lynch me now? But she quickly recovered and carried on playing as though nothing had happened. But once the song was over and before the next one began, Ellie subtly shook her finger at me from the stage. Shook her finger? Like the middle finger or what? Oh, that was just ridiculous. Nah, how was that my fault? Was she obsessed or what? I made a point of not looking at her, focusing my attention on the other members of Z Feels Z. The bassist looked fairly ordinary, almost to a fault, considering the band's style. I'd have expected edgier attire. The bass player was like, just like, boom, 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 like, you know, the fucking typical bass player. Still, he was better at it than I was. How long would it have taken me to be able to play his parts as cleanly? I mean, if you fucking quit drinking, stop missing the school, be more organized, practice at least 15 minutes a day, but every single day, you'll be fucking better than anyone there. Anyone, I fucking promise you. Fucking promise you. I couldn't make it out the drummer's features behind his equipment, and unfortunately I already met the keyboardist. That turned out to be their last song. Yamaha, nice. Actually, DX7, is it a fucking real one? The developer of this game have to be very careful, because if Japanese will see that, they will be a little bit not happy. I'm pretty sure the copyrights are not claimed here. The audience demanded an encore, but the band quickly disappeared off stage. Of course, because you have to fucking pay for the stage, usually. Maybe they didn't have a particularly large repertoire. People usually repeat song, you know, they usually repeat that. And what was I going to do next? On one hand, I wanted to talk to Ellie and tell her that I liked her music. On the other, wouldn't that sound like a trite compliment? Besides, she was clearly not happy to see me at her concert. While I contemplated, the crowd began to disperse, and still Z Feel Z hadn't emerged from the dressing room. They must have left through the back door. Oh well, I didn't have much to say to her anyway. Still, I was grateful to Ellie. Her music had allowed me to escape my problems, if only briefly. The club was almost empty now, but I remained frozen in the middle of the dance floor, immersed in my own thoughts. Usually I would leave before the end of concert in high spirits rather than hang around for the bitter aftertaste of fun's conclusion. ... Either it had gotten warmer outside or the alcohol was warming me up. Somehow I made it home in no time at all. Damn, I wish I could live in Japan. Like, seems like everything like in walking distance. He stepped out of the house, he's in school. He stepped out of the house, he's like, I don't know, like somewhere in the club or something. Another note from Himitsu rested on the doorstep. Surely this time she could have let herself in with her keys since I hadn't bolted the door from their side. from inside. She could have made dinner and waited for me like she'd done the day before. But the note made it clear that I couldn't even begin to count it. What? Did she think that I was just out having fun? The note, the mysterious demand shadowing me. Just because I couldn't tell her about all that stuff didn't mean I didn't want to. So I gone to a concert, what did it matter? A guy had to enjoy some culture once in a while. Of course, none of this was Himitsu's fault. I was just tired of her incessant, misplaced worrying. I'd started to feel like I was in a cage when I was around her. Children usually become more independent as they age, but Himitsu had essentially replaced my deceased parents, and Lil had actually changed in my life. Okay, sorry. But to take all this for granted, did I really feel no gratitude toward her? Judging by the no, she wasn't just upset, but hurt too. Maybe I could at least call her. I didn't need to give any details, just tell her that everything was okay. I could, of course, stop by her place, but it was already late. I reeked of alcohol, and a phone call was enough in this situation. I dialed the phone number, I know this since childhood. Almost immediately, her voice came over the line.
Hello, Nico-kun?
Just about what I expected. Hi, sorry I disappeared today. Silence on the other end. You wouldn't believe me if I told you you had things to do, would you?
Did you?
I sighed heavily.
I'm hurt, you're hiding something from me.
If I was, there would be good reasons for it. But I'm not hiding anything. The inane laugh was meant to defuse the situation.
You know, I'm always here for you if anything happens.
Okay, I'll see you at school tomorrow.
Good night.
Good night. I hang up and pause to think. What if I told her everything? I doubt Himitsu could help me in any way, but at least I wouldn't have to shoulder my problems alone. I was gazing at the phone and I was just about to head to bed when it rang. Himitsu again? Did she forget to say something? No, it's that voice. Hey, I started automatically. Seriously, who else would call me this late? Who else would call me, period?
Nikolai-kun.
But I was wrong. It was Ichinoze-san. Ichinoze-san? I'm listening.
Nikolai-kun, I thought hard about whether to call you after all I did this morning to keep out of this business. But I owe much to your father, you see, and since he's no longer with us, the least I can do is to repay my debt to his son.
From Nikolai-kun.
I simply didn't know what to say. Are you listening to me?
Yes, absolutely. I'm all ears.
I don't know all that much myself, nor did your father suspect that there is a person. Write this down. Memorize it. His name is Akira Shinji.
Evangelion.
He used to work with your father, but he was laid off. He now owns a little restaurant somewhere on the waterfront.
Ichinoze felt silent for a moment, then continued hastily.
Nikolai, I don't know if you are in any danger, but please be careful.
Ichinoze-san, which waterfront exactly? There's so many in Tokyo. The name is pretty common too.
I can't. I have to go. Take care of yourself.
He hung up. He was clearly afraid of something. Afraid, yes, but he still called and warned me, and even gave me a clue. Although the name alone might not end up enough. For some reason, I felt no fear at that moment, more like reckless excitement and boldness. Probably owing to the quantity of alcohol consumed earlier. Alcohol consumption. Oh my fucking god. The second I got off the call with Ichinoze, I felt incredibly sleepy. I barely made it to my bed before crashing. Crashed. Wow. Just wow. The next day, it's September 9th, 1987. So we're going day by day. Oh my god, how many days is here? I woke up early with a headache, the dry horrors, and a terrible feeling of the English of existence. Go to the kitchen, drink water, hurry up. Good thing I was always had aspirin in my medical thing. Then again, that was the only thing in there in the first place. Fucking alcoholic, bro. After washing the pill down with a couple glasses of cold water, I figure out that yesterday didn't really end too badly. At least today, I hadn't slept in all the way till the lunchtime. Okay, go to school, bro. Please go to school. You're gonna get expelled or something. The memories started to return slowly. Vicious and heavy, they surfaced in my mind, bringing with them a tugging unease. I suddenly felt uncomfortable on the giant, empty house. I definitely needed to go to school, finally, please. At this rate, I might really get myself expelled, finally. It wasn't about my attendance, of course, I just desperately wanted to be among other people. I stepped out into the street, the chilly wind immediately chasing away the last remnants of my hangover. It was still too early even for Himitsu. Oh well, we talked yesterday. Although the early part seemed to only apply to me, life in Tokyo was already in full swing. The office workers were on their way to work, clad in identical snow-white shirts, grocery stores and all kinds of shops were opening up. Cheerful old women were striking up conversations with each other. I was walking down the street enjoying life. I'd never noticed before that small things like this made the world a much more attractive place than I thought it was. Could anything really go wrong? Fearing of my own safety, even my own life, made me realize I wasn't ready to change anything yet. Just stop and return to the USSR? Oh bro, there you won't have a large house, there you won't be able to skip school. Oh bro, there you won't be able to drink alcohol for sure. No, that was absurd. It was the rambling of a drunken teenager. But what was I supposed to do then? Fight here and now? Or just go with the flow? Go with the flow, girl. After all, there was no way a life as wonderful as this could be senselessly cruel at the same time, was there? The world turned its friendly smiling face to me and my stomach responded with as friendly a rumble. And to think that when the morning had started, even the thought of food had made me want to puke. But what he did? Oh, he didn't eat anything. I entered a small restaurant and happily ate a bowl of ramen. All my worries faded into the background and hope glimmered in the distance. I was just getting all worked up about nothing. There was nothing scary really going. For a year and a half I've been living as if excuse me, an abuser, so now every little thing seemed like a problem of galactic proportions. If something really did happen to me, for example, if I received a visit from the police, I ended up having a heart attack. I just needed to calm down, wait it out, and all my problems would resolve themselves. And if not, I'd deal with them as they came. Once I got to school, I was swept up in the crowd of students. I'd spent a good half an hour in the ramen shop. It wasn't as early as in the morning by then. Japanese, Americans, French, Russians. Sometimes it seemed to me that my school was a little too international. It was a good thing, though. I didn't feel as alien among them as, for instance, sitting at a narrow corner of a low chair in a typical Japanese snack bar. That's some weird thing. Come on, guys. It doesn't matter where you are. Like, as long as you're the part of the community, as long as you speak their languages, follow their rules, culture things, you're good. Doesn't matter, even if you're black or, I don't know, like fucking... Several guys shook my hand on the run, some girl even flashed me a smile. I recalled being in the same class as the girl last year, but wouldn't be able to remember her name even if my life depended on it. I was close to saying I was happy, but... At the lockers, I ran into Catherine. Oh my god. Hi. You're early today. She gave an unexpectedly polite response. Yeah, I skipped yesterday. Can't keep ditching school forever. Damn, what was her voice? I forgot her accent. Decided to get yourself together? Really? Catherine looked at me wide-eyed and frowned. Oh, I see. She had that smile on her lips again. I ignored it and said simply, yeah, so much has happened lately. I may have been feeling fine, but I couldn't hide my swollen face. Especially not from Catherine. Well, so Oh, enough already. What are you straight at me for? You know it all. Emotions changed quickly on Catherine's face. The surprise gave me way to indifference. She lost interest. That's not what I... Oh, maybe that too. I don't want to fight anymore. I just think you have to understand my reaction. Put yourself in my shoes or something. What are you even talking about? Catherine asked nonchalantly. About everything. Don't pretend you don't understand. Don't understand what? I didn't even know how to talk to her anymore. Alright, you want me to understand you? I do now. Oh, here we go again. Is that your way of mocking me? Why would I be mocking you? Well, that's what I should be asking you. First you come back for no reason, then you transfer into my class and pretend like that's how it should be. Should at least have more self-respect. What should I respect you for? I couldn't hear Catherine. I had already forgotten to even think about yesterday's events and what I've been thinking about this morning. Or just don't think to me anymore. I'm tired of degrading myself for you, struggling to get you at least treat me like I'm human. It looked like she wasn't ready for this kind of reaction. So make your choice. Can we please cancel, Nikolai? I turned around and ran up to the stairs to the second floor. Kuyusoki. Hello, hey Nick. Where have you been? Kuyusoki was carefree as always. Drinking! An underaged school guy. I snarled. Gotcha, are you not in the mood? Talk to you later then. He responded sadly. Catherine entered the class almost immediately after me. There were still several minutes left until the bell, and they dragged on tormentingly slowly. It'll be easier doing the lesson, it'll be easier, I kept telling myself. Meanwhile, Catherine wasn't paying any attention to me at all. No, this was crossing the line now. It had stopped being mockery and turned into outright cruelty. Had she crashed her head first riding a bike in those United States of hers? Right into the Grand Canyon. The bell finally rang. During the lesson, I could only think about Catherine, a burning to the point of shuddering desire to turn around the look and her swelling in my chest. I couldn't manage to distract myself with anything. Yesterday's conversation with Ichinose and the mysterious threat hanging over my head seemed to have suddenly lost all meaning. A single thought was pulsating in my head, that I needed to sort out my relationship with her once and for all. Yes, go fuck her. Go do this with her. I could figure out if I still loved her or not later. Now I needed to what? Oh, god damn it, I cannot do this anymore. With a loud thud, I hit the desk with my forehead. Tuduch. Anakin-kun, are you alright? I heard muffled laughter and whispers. Couldn't be better, sensei. Just checking if there's anything in my head. The teacher didn't even raise an eyebrow. You'd sing a lot of working at this class. Maybe you should go to the doctor. No, I'm telling you I'm fine. Well, do what you want, just don't interfere with the lesson. After that circus performance, I felt a bit better. Surprisingly, the planet kept spinning, paying no attention to my problems. Oh my god, it's such a pathetic loser. Just a fucking pathetic Russian loser that tries to resolve his problems out of nowhere. He fucking pathetic. Nikolai is fucking pathetic. So I think, guys, this is a perfect ending for this 4th episode. So thank you very much for watching until the very end. Please join the channel, subscribe on Twitter, Instagram. In the description will be a playlist with this game. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next episode.